Ever heard of a country where severed hands were used as currency, where noses were hacked off, and brutality knew no bounds? Welcome to the Congo Free State, where King Leopold II's reign was a nightmare of unimaginable horrors. Back in the late 19th century, European colonial powers descended upon Africa like vultures, claiming territories left and right. At the Berlin Conference in 1884-85, they casually drew lines on a map, disregarding the fact that 80% of Africa was already under local control. Belgium's King Leopold II walked away with a massive portion, the Congo Basin, which he renamed the Congo Free State. But what happened next was the stuff of nightmares. Millions suffered under Leopold's reign, enduring unimaginable brutality and exploitation. No wonder people now compare Leopold II to the Nazi leader, Hitler. Let's dissect it. Imagine a handful of men armed to the teeth with state-of-the-art rifles, while locals are stuck with bows and arrows. How did this stark technological advantage shape the brutal landscape of colonial Congo? But it wasn't just about firepower. It was about survival in a harsh climate. The discovery of quinine drastically reduced European mortality rates in the Congo. Fast forward to the rubber boom, where the demand for rubber skyrocketed thanks to inventions like bicycle inner tubes. But for Leopold, it was more than a windfall. It was a lifeline to dig himself out of debt. How did this thirst for rubber drive him to exploit the Congolese people to the brink of collapse? Enter the dark heart of the matter, the infamous red rubber system. Natives were coerced, brutalized, and even mutilated to meet impossible rubber quotas. But how did Leopold's enforcers maintain control over such a barbaric regime? The force publique armed with rifles and whips made of hippo hide. They were the iron fist of Leopold's reign. Be warned, because the atrocities that took place before they were executed were horrible. Let's delve into some chilling realities here. Soldiers in the Congo didn't just stop at shooting natives. They'd chop off their hands to prove they didn't waste bullets. Why? Well, bullets weren't cheap. They were imported from Europe. They had to prove they got their money's worth. Can you imagine the sheer horror of being hunted down like animals or having your limbs hacked off just to hoard ammo in case of a revolt? And it gets worse. Villagers trying to escape? Soldiers would round up their families and start chopping off everything. Hands, noses, ears, you name it. It's like a nightmare you can't wake up from. Survivors of these massacres? They had to play dead, lying still while their attackers went to town with their blades. Can you even fathom the fear and agony? And there's the sickening fact that soldiers tried to shorten their service by bringing in extra severed hands as some twisted form of currency. And let's not forget Captain Leon Rum, who thought it was perfectly normal to decorate his flower beds with severed heads. Yeah, try walking past that without feeling sick to your stomach. But wait, there's more. Soldiers tying up villagers in fishing nets and drowning them? It's beyond monstrous. And get this, King Leopold himself supposedly said, cut off everything else, but not their hands. Can you believe the callousness? While people are being mutilated and killed, he's worried about the efficiency of his labor force. So as we continue, remember the horrors these people endured. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and we're about to uncover even more disturbing truths. The colonizers didn't just stop there. They took it to a whole new level. Officers from the force publique went into villages and snatched up Congolese folks, holding them hostage to force their families to work even harder. One officer even bragged about chopping off the heads of 100 villagers because they didn't give the army enough food. He actually thought he was doing them a favor, saying it meant more supplies for the rest. Can you believe what lengths they went to? As if things weren't bad enough, all this focus on rubber meant that villages couldn't even grow their own food anymore. Can you imagine not being able to feed your family because you're too busy meeting some crazy rubber quota? It's no wonder famine swept through like a wildfire. And with famine came disease. It was like one nightmare after another. People were dying not just from hunger, but from sickness too. The people of the Congo were trapped in a never-ending cycle of suffering, and before dying, they had to suffer through this. But when the Congolese had enough and refused to work, what happened? They were killed, plain and simple. And not just killed, but their bodies were displayed as a warning. Let's dive into a chilling tale captured through the lens of Alice Seeley Harris, a witness to the unspeakable horrors of the Congo Free State. In her haunting account, she recounts the harrowing ordeal of a man named Nsala and his family. Imagine the sheer brutality of the scene. Nsala, a man simply trying to meet his rubber quota, faced with the ultimate nightmare. His daughter, Boali, just 5 years old, was mutilated by Belgian overseers for his failure to meet their demands. Can you imagine the anguish of a father forced to witness such unspeakable cruelty inflicted upon his own flesh and blood? But the horror didn't end there. Boali's mother was also ruthlessly murdered, her life torn apart by the relentless greed of those in power. And as if the pain wasn't enough, the perpetrators went even further, desecrating their bodies through cannibalism, a final act of depravity intended to break Nsala's spirit. This wasn't just about meeting quotas or maintaining control. It was a display of unchecked power and inhumanity. Leopold II, thousands of miles away, driven by insatiable greed, decreed that these people were mere commodities to serve his desires. He saw no humanity in them, no value beyond their ability to generate profit. Overall, the death count remains elusive, but when you combine all the closely connected sources, the whole population loss paints a haunting picture. Primarily, it was a tale of wholesale genocide, where the natives bore the brunt of unimaginable cruelty, but that was just the beginning. As we conclude our journey through the chilling truths of the Congo Free State, it's crucial to consider how Belgium grapples with this dark chapter in its history today. While some Belgians acknowledge and condemn the atrocities committed under King Leopold II's rule, there remains a complex and often contentious debate surrounding the country's colonial legacy. From calls for reparations to efforts in education and remembrance, Belgium continues to navigate the painful legacies of its colonial past. Yet, the scars of the Congo endure, serving as a stark reminder of the enduring impact of exploitation and oppression. As we confront this shared history, we may strive for accountability, justice, and a future built upon empathy, understanding, and reconciliation. Thank you for joining us on this eye-opening journey through the harrowing truths of the Congo Free State. This is Nasty History, and I will see you next time.